and welcome again to my reaction to Vinland Saga Season 2 Episode 19 called The Battle of Ketil's Farm. So we know this has been coming for a while and it's not something to look forward to in terms of like life. This is not something exciting, it's not fun. But from a learning perspective and entertainment perspective, it's definitely very interesting and something I've been looking forward to just to see how it will play out. And yeah, what I mean by learning is that I don't think some people are watching Vinland Saga for the same reason that I'm watching Vinland Saga. Of course, we watch anime for entertainment purposes, but I also really like anime in general because of the stories aspect and the fact that we can learn from characters and what they've been through, and that makes Vinland Saga especially unique because it is largely based on like real world events and characters, history, so we can definitely learn from that. What is that quote about? If we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. And I will maybe get more into that by the end of the video. But I just want to tell you guys, I do have a little poll on my community tab about languages. So besides English, which language do you speak? English might be your second language. So if Japanese is your first language, please go select that. I think the majority of people would be able to speak English if they're on my channel, just because that's the language I communicate in. So maybe you can speak it or you're trying to learn how to speak it. So that's why I just included other languages. I'm actually trying very slowly to learn Japanese, French, and possibly Dutch, because my first language is actually Afrikaans, which is a language spoken, derived from Dutch. It's mainly spoken in South Africa by like 7 million people or something, so it's not a common language at all. But yeah, it's derived specifically from Dutch, so I was just wondering if there are some of you that maybe speak or understand Dutch, because I am considering learning it just because, I don't know, part of my history, I don't know. Yeah, and on that note, there's another interesting thing, maybe I'll just quickly mention it, about a long time ago, I had a YouTube channel where I did reactions to things that people suggested, which was like, there was no specific thing like anime, it was just random, and Eurovision was one of the stuff that I started reacting to. And one year, the show Eurovision was sponsored by MyHeritage, and they sent us some, like the little, you spit or something, and then you send it to them, and they tell you your DNA. I don't know how accurate that kind of stuff is actually, so I don't take this seriously. It's just like with a grain of salt, or however you say that. But I just wanted to show you guys, out of interest sake, my DNA results that I got from back then, since we're talking about languages and everything. So it's quite mixed, as you can see. The majority of it South African, Western Cape, but there's also quite a large portion of Scandinavian in there, East European, North African, and Nigerian, which I sent to a friend, I guess a friend, if I'm allowed to call him that, I'm more like a fan, who is Nigerian. And well, yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, if you guys have ever done something like that, please tell me what was your experience, and if you used a different, and how accurate you think that is. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that think it's totally inaccurate, which is fine. I just thought it was interesting. Especially, like I said, there was someone that speaks Afrikaans, which is derived from Dutch, which is in a country like South Africa. I mean, I was born here, my parents were born here, their parents were born here. But it's a very mixed bag. Like we're kind of known as the Rainbow Nation. I don't know if we're known just in our country like that, or maybe outside the country the other people see us like that. I don't know, but it's because we have so many different kinds of people and stuff. In 11 official languages. Just FYI. Okay, now that you know a little bit more about me, randomly, let's watch some serious shit. And be serious. No, I'm joking. But I probably will end up being serious. Mob mentality. Mm-hmm. Just take her! That guy's gonna die anyway. I doubt that's a reasonable thing to do right now. I don't know if they can just leave. You be. I wonder how many people are on one boat like that, like 100, 200, 300, wait, 100, 200, 300? I don't know how big these things are, but I would guess somewhere between like 320. Please give me a more accurate number in the comments. Or maybe we'll hear a more accurate number. Motherfucker, this orange thing at the bottom doesn't want to go away. I mean, it already is, but I get what you mean. Wait, what? Okay, firstly, I'm like, wow, 100, that is a lot less than I expected. But he's not counting, like, slaves and servants. I'm betting each one of them has the strength and fighting ability of 20 men. So like 10 of them would be like 10 times 20. Well, that adds up fast.
白マントたちはこの絵に比べりゃ弱い。
あれがヨウム戦士団だ。お前がそんなに目見開いたの初めて見たぞ。
私だって。
目見こっちの反応戦士の寄せ集めとは兵の質が違いすぎる。一戦やらなきゃ旦那にはそれがわからねえらしい。お前ら逃げたきゃ逃げろ。クヌート王は逃げる時間を用意してくれてる。俺は指揮官だ。逃げてどうする。あの350人のお調子乗りども。
だったらよ、ケテル一族を縛り上げて引き渡しちまいましょうよ。
You want to have a war before the war when he gave you the option to run. You think if he's not gonna run, he'll listen to this plan. That's why you're not the brains, I guess.
ねえ、もう逃げようよ、兄貴。意地張ってもどうにもならねえって。
鉄拳か。鉄拳のことならよく知ってる。15、6の頃に出会ってな。俺に戦場の流儀を教えてくれた。何年前だったか、ちょいとしくじってな。俺は追われる身になった。ところがよ、やっとの思いでたどり着いたと思ったら。
なんだお前は、わしに言おうか。
全くの別人だったんだ、これが。
なんじゃそりゃ。
Oh, so he didn't just make up the rumors, he stole the name, essentially. Someone had the existing fame, infamy, or whatever, and he, like, maybe they had the same name, and he said, that's me, I am that Kittle.
語ってんだよ、あの旦那は。ずいぶんただ飯を食わせてもらった。そろそろ飯代を払わないとな。
If you've seen my reaction to other shows similar to the themes included in Vinland Saga, you'll know that I like characters that, how does he say, it's time to pay my tab. Like, they know that their actions were not the best in their life. They made the wrong decisions, and they don't make excuses for their actions like their fans do. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because people get it twisted oftentimes. Like, if I say, I don't like what they're doing, they're like, oh, how dare you hate the character? How dare you not love the character that I'm loving? And this kind of things. And then the ironic part is the more I have to defend my position and why I don't like his actions or agree with someone's actions, the more the people kind of attack me for it, and the more I have to defend my opinion. It's like, that negative energy does eventually it can reflect on the character then, and it can go from, oh, I don't like his actions here, to I'm so fucking annoyed with this character because maybe I'm annoyed with the fans, not the character. That has happened many times before. Point is, I do like when characters, like Thorfinn is a great example. Like, he doesn't make any excuses for the actions of his past. He actually he acknowledges them, and he wants to atone. He doesn't just want to live a better life now. He actively wants to atone for what he did. Like, that is amazing.
背にした陣だ。王の軍団はここに2列応対。こっちにまともな軍隊がいねえのを知ってやがるんだ。地形は見晴らしがいい。奇襲は効かねえ。オルマル、これをどう攻める？
野襲。
ブー。野襲ってのは上等な戦士のやることだ。あんな奴らクソの役にも立ちゃしねえ。100数える間に皆殺しだ。ど素人め。決まってんだろそんなもん。 100数える間、王の注意を引いてもらうためよ。
Wait, I have to get comfortable. Okay, I got you.
トールギル、おらんのか、トールギル。まったく肝心な時に構え。
旦那、最後の忠告です。やったら負けますよ。
しつこいぞヘビ。この鉄拳ケテルがあんな若造に何一つ劣るものか。撃て
始まった。ご無事でパテールさん。くそ。大丈夫だ。このまま行こう。両軍戦闘の真っ最中だ。なるべく揺らさないように。
ゆっくりゆっくり。
奴隷泥棒。
奴隷泥棒。We left behind enough to pay for her. Yeah, and I don't think it'll gonna make it through this anyway, to be honest with you. That money's gonna be the king's money anyway, soon enough.
大旦那様にお別れを言えなかったな。寝たかい、子供たちは。
馬車に揺られるとすぐに寝てしまうから。
怖いか。心配するな。私たちには暖かな家が待っている。長く苦しい旅だったな。
そうね。それでもまだいるわ。ここで生き抜こうとする命が。ガルザル、
彼らにお世話になった者たちに別れを伝えてくるといい。ここで子供たちと待っているよ。
エイナルさんたちにお礼を言わなくちゃ。
止まって止まって。俺です。わかりますか。具合はどうです。
Give her some space to breathe. Wow. That was one hell of a transition. And also, at least they died quickly. I think.
2列目の重手段はケテル逮捕に使う。
下がるな。そう、わしの息子たちはどこへ行ったのだ。
無理だよ、兄ちゃん。
I'm betting he's planning it so that his brother is the distraction from the like, you know, they were the distraction, and then, oh no, oh, you think you're the, no, he's gonna, you know what I'm saying? I feel like some people would know what I was saying. Like, he's just another distraction. He doesn't trust his brother to do what needs to be done. Oh. Smart plan, but it's not gonna work. Not gonna do. Canute's not gonna die in season 2. She's just coming back to say goodbye. That's fucking sad. So, first of all, last week I think I also said in the video that I was pretty excited for the Leif and Thorfinn reunion. But I already saw, like, on Twitter or somewhere, someone saying, like, it's a spoiler because I was expecting it in this episode. but then the comment explained something, and then I knew it was going to happen. So I went into this knowing that we're not going to get that. And it was basically, apparently the author himself said that right after, you know, what happened to Arnes, he didn't want to have like a reunion scene, which I totally understand that. But I would have still personally liked just a moment where they see each other for the first time, and even if it is because even if every day there's things happening around us, horrible things, but we still, some of us thankfully can still be with the people that we love, and we still appreciate that. But this is a more immediate scene. Like, it's not like the bad stuff is happening around there. It literally, Arnes is right there. So I'm not expecting like running to each other, a big hug. Okay, I understand that fully. But just Leif seeing him for the first time and seeing that's him. This is the Thorfinn I was looking for, and just like maybe a moment where he like takes his hand and says, "I'm glad I found you finally," or something. Just like an acknowledgement in the voice and the eyes. It doesn't have to be an emotional, happy outburst, but just a sense of relief. I feel like with the author's ability, amazing talent in portraying complicated emotions and small hints about larger things, you know? He doesn't have to explain everything. The author can just show with a character's how the character's hands looks like. There was many times where I just focused on Arne's hands, and you can see this is the hands of a slave woman. She's so beautiful, but this is her hands. This is what they look like. Small things like that, you know? And I do believe that that would have been just for me a very nice inclusion. Just the first time he sees him, just the acknowledgement in his eyes, the relief, even if surrounded by sadness, and acknowledging the pain, but also just that is the kind of that is the kind of complexity in life as well. You know, life is pain, but also there are rays of hope coming through the dark clouds. And so just that, I feel like it could have been a very great moment with a certain style of eyes, one word, like just "you're here" or "it's you." Yeah, you know? I don't know. I'm not a great, brilliant story writer like the author here, so I don't know. But I just feel like it's something that would have made a nice addition for me, but it's fine. It's not a necessity. The first comment's deleted. Oh, here is the... Oh, I maybe this is... I will answer the question. Why didn't you depict the touching reunion moment of Leif and Thorfinn? Yes, this is what I read exactly. So how did I see this? And I liked it. I could have sworn it was on Twitter. I will answer maybe I'm trying to think now. When I was getting ready, maybe now I'm thinking of some times when I was still on this episode, but this went to the next episode, like Kill la Kill. And then I was gonna read the comments for the episode I was on, but it had already gone to the next episode because it was at the end of the episode. And then I go and I'm like, I'm so confused in the comment section, like, why this has nothing to do with the episode. And then all the time I was reading the wrong comments, and then I've spoiled myself. Okay, but anyway, maybe I saw this is where I saw it earlier. I don't know. I will answer the question, why didn't you depict the touching reunion moment of Leif and Thorfinn? So this is exactly what I said. This is what I read from. The author himself had to explain. I wanted to draw it, but just before that, a ridiculous incident happened, which was the abuse of Arnes. And the two were no longer happy to see each other again. Inevitably, the order in which the events occurred ended up being that way. I couldn't draw the scene of Thorfinn and Leif happily embracing each other beside Arnes, who was in a terrible state. So I'm not saying there should have been a happy embrace, but just his eyes, the first time he saw that this is the Thorfinn he was looking for, I think there could have been like just a small acknowledgement that would have added to because it kind of just went. The story just went. And I really feel like there is a way to do that. to acknowledge his first meeting with him again without making it taking away from, you know, I don't know. That's my opinion. I've given many episodes 10 out of 10. I have acknowledged the brilliance of the author, but obviously that doesn't mean I have to agree with every single decision. I have explained that before. Okay, that's the one thing I want to talk about. I'm going to make a note to myself. Be careful with comments. Slaves have died. Oh, I said something about slaves have died on these lands when Knut was talking about he doesn't want to stain the land with blood. But I also thought of it in like a symbolic way, staining the land, like not just in a literal way, the blood seeping into the ground, but also, I don't know. So I know a lot of people have been coming to Keto's defense. So I don't know, because I know people are going to be like, oh, but he didn't kill any slaves. The slaves are treated nicely. But were they all the time? There was also unjust treatment, even if not by Keto. I mean, I don't know where Garzar was from. Was he like family or on what farm was... I don't know, but my point is just that when I heard that line, I thought the land is already stained. That was just, okay, don't think too deeply about it. I just thought that in a symbolic sense, it sounded like even if you don't want to stain the land's already stained. Anyway, and then just 922, he said something about excluding slaves and servants. I remember a couple of episodes back, remember when Knut was saying like they shouldn't rape and stuff, even though that was the norm. Sorry, I'm doing this because I don't know how to address this. There was one particular comment that annoyed me a lot from last week, which was basically like me. This is in a simplified form. Me, rape is wrong. Oh my god. And then the commenters, you're not allowed to judge those people based on the morals of today. It was a different time. It was accepted. It was blah, blah, blah. And I'm just over here like, excuse me? I'm not allowed to say rape is wrong because it was the norm back then. I'm not allowed to judge a rapist because back then it was normal. Like, do you hear yourself? I'm not allowed to react in a disgusting way to seeing rape or slavery because it was normal. So I should just be like, oh yeah, totally normal thing to do for a person. Like, yeah, I accept that. What a wonderful person. Because rape was slavery was legal. So, you know, nothing wrong going on here. Like, do you hear yourself? Even back then, there were people that knew and that were fought against slavery. Knut himself wants to make things better. Like, and that's why he said like they aren't allowed to rape the woman and stuff, even though that's their tradition. And I don't remember, but you understand my point. Even though it's their tradition back that time, Knut said, I don't like that. That's bad. Don't do that. Thorfinn, and I'm pretty sure every slave knew this is not right. This is not fair. But they had no power to fight the law. Just because something's a law and it's normal to do, that doesn't make it right. Yes, we have to judge the people of the past so that we know, okay, that was bad in the past, and so we shouldn't repeat it, so that we can have a better future. You have to learn from the past. You have to... I'm not saying you should, like, tear down a statue of Napoleon because he did some bad shit. I'm not saying you should not acknowledge certain actions because of other actions. I'm not saying any of that. I don't care about that. That's a whole other discussion. But to tell me, like, I'm not allowed to acknowledge the horribleness, the wrongness of an action just because it was normal at one point. That seems ignorant, to say the least, even from like, or maybe someone just can't handle any criticism of fictional characters. Like, these are fictional characters, but some of them are based on real world, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. You're allowed to say that action was wrong. Like, it doesn't make sense not to do that. Because how are we gonna learn from the past? How, even in these times, how do you think things changed? How do you think slavery stopped being the norm? Because somewhere someone gained more power and said, we're gonna stop this because it's wrong or bad for whatever reason. Do you understand my point? Like, things changed because of that acknowledgement. So don't tell me now I can't say slavery is wrong, rape is wrong. Da, 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 da. I'm trying to understand it from their perspective. Like, oh, well, you can't say this character is doing a bad thing because he's not breaking the law. Because in that time the law was, but morals have nothing to do with law alone. There have been laws that were immoral. And then people in that time pointed and said, this is an immoral law, we want to change it. And then, oh no, we're not going to change it. Oh no, we're going to change it. And then a fight happened and then it was changed or whatever. So just because that's what I'm trying to say, just because something's a law doesn't make it wrong. If you want to take this conversation a step further and talk about morals in general and right versus wrong, and once again, that's another conversation. It's a further conversation. It's a deep and difficult conversation because where does morals come from? Is it like objective, subjective? And people's opinions differ because most people would say it's subjective. Others would say, think about karma, the law of what you put out comes back. So like, if you're a good person in this life, you'll live a good life in your next life. If you do bad things, you'll be a cockroach in your next life. I don't know. But that sounds to me like there's some people have the belief that there is some higher, like how gravity exists whether or not we acknowledge it, whether or not we understand it, whether or not we give it a name. Gravity exists. 1,000 years ago, people could not explain it. People couldn't. And then eventually people learned about it and they used it to their advantage to make planes fly and blah, blah, blah science. Okay. But like I said, 1,000 years ago, maybe no one knew gravity existed, but it was there. Nobody thought about it, but it was there. Just on my point. So I'm not saying it's true that morals there's like a universal moral thing about good energy, bad energy, I don't know. But my point is, at the very least, laws do not dictate goodness and the badness. Because we know from history there have been bad laws. And just because you comply to a bad law doesn't make you a good person. So if I would like to say, he's a slave owner, because I remember a couple of episodes ago, I had this kind of contrast where conflicting feelings where I thought, wow, he's a good slave master. Oh my God, wait, can you even say that? A good slave master? And then I had this whole thing where, slavery is slavery. Even if he's a nice slave master, he's still a slave master. So which one outweighs the other? And I've also had long conversations about this in my Attack on Titan discussions where, to illustrate my feelings on this, I would draw, I don't have it in this book because this is a new one. I would draw let me show you. I should just save a damn, I'm pretty sure I did a video on it. If I haven't, I should go find it. But basically, I'm just going to give a recap of it like here. So, and this is just to illustrate my own beliefs and my own opinion. So, I call this the scale of goodness and badness. Not an objective thing, just to illustrate my own feelings, I repeat. And let's say this is a pure goodness and this is pure evil on the very edge, right? And these, in my mind, are beings that probably highly likely don't exist. Like, you don't get a like, this would be an angel, for example, a purely good being, which I don't know. I don't think they exist. And this would be the pure evil, somehow devil, demons, whatever. But this is not important, because we cannot point to these things in life and say, that exists, that's what it looks like, that's what it looks like. So those things don't actually matter, right? But I'm just trying to illustrate that no person can be purely good, no person can be purely evil. Here would be neutral, I don't know. And then there are certain actions, right, that you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions. Oh, you raped someone. Oh, you enslaved someone. Oh, you saved someone's life. Oh, you give to charity. You share your food, blah, blah, blah. There's actions. And you can put those actions... Okay, I think I swapped this. Usually good is over here and evil's over there, but it doesn't matter. So you can take these actions and I would, in my mind, place them on the scale. So if you give to charity, that's where that action is. If you rape someone, that's where that action is. Well, I actually think even if people can't be pure evil, actions, at least from my feeling point of view, can be pure evil. So action-wise, I would put rape there. Action-wise, I would put enslaving someone there. But let's take, for example, Schindler's List during the Hitler thing. Schindler's List, let's say, what Schindler did, right, was he bought a bunch of people and he made them work in his factory as, I think they were slaves or something similar. But he was trying to buy as many people and keep them safe from the fucking... So inherently, even if he bought them as slaves, I'm not saying he did, I just don't remember the term, but he did buy people, I don't remember. But just think of imagine a person buying people as slaves, but then with the intention of keeping them safe until the war blows over. And he's not treating them like slaves, he's feeding them, And that is where I was conflicted with Ketil's actions, because I was thinking he's giving them, he is buying them, but he's giving them a job and he's giving them the opportunity to get free again, right? It's not as easy to say, well, he's a slave master, but he was because of Arnett, because he didn't offer her the same opportunity. And whether you rape one person or whether you rape 5, you're a rapist. Maybe after a certain number you become a serial rapist, but you're still a rapist. So that is why Ketil's character is very interesting, because there's all these aspects to it. And you have to decide for yourself, where do you place him on the scale of goodness and evil, because you can weigh his actions and then decide, okay, where would I place him as a person? Like, because he has these good actions, but then he has these bad actions. And then do these actions outweigh these actions for you, blah, blah, blah. And it's very complicated, because let's say there's this philanthropist in our world, right? And he does countless good things every year. He feeds the poor. He pays for people's education, and he does all these wonderfully good things. People see him as a saint but for some weird reason at the end of every year, because he's kind of a twisted, fucked up mind, he has to release all his tension and rape a woman. One bad action every year amongst countless good actions. Now, does that one bad action take away all his good? Does that one bad action mean we should put him in jail and then he can't do any of the good things anymore? He can't put people through school. He can't feed people. He can't give people jobs. Yes. Yes, we should put him in jail. He's a danger. See, that's what I would say, because that's how I judge, how heavy I judge that action. But as a society, we can't just say, this is the truth, this is the truth, this is the truth. We can just talk and feel, okay, how, like, as a society, we can't say this is the rule because I feel that way. You have to actually explain, and that's where it becomes difficult, because now you have to explain to people with various beliefs, various religions, various whatevers. You have to explain to people why we have to make this a law that people like this go to jail. Point blank period, doesn't matter how many good things they do. And I do have, if you care, just comment and ask, or maybe I'll put it in my description or something. I do have some Attack on Titan notes, which specifically go into even more into my thoughts on why morality is important in a preserve sense, to preserve our species in a like, why do we have to have a strong sense of right and wrong and rules? Why I believe, like, if you're going to say this action is wrong, this action is wrong, this action is wrong, you have to prove it by explaining how does it preserve our species as a human race, right? Because at the most basic level, I think, even in nature, we have this innate survival skill, survival instinct. So all of our decisions should be made. We don't want to die out. Animals don't want to die out. They all live in such a way to preserve themselves, to preserve their species. Okay. So whenever I talk about, I think this is wrong or I think this is right, I try and justify it in my head by saying this would hurt society, this would hurt the human race's chance of survival. And it is a little bit like a long conversation, so, and I have written about it before, so I will not do it now, because I'm just gonna ramble on even further. Let me just see if I can get it. It should be in my notes. So this is my manga channel, Attack on Titan season 1 to 3 notes. So I'll just copy and paste this link. And then I'm not sure what page. Morality? No, is that not in this? Morality? I think this is maybe the bit. Yeah, here it is. It's on page 85. I don't know how many pages are there in total. So I wrote this a while back. There might be some words or phrases that I use that I wouldn't use today. Like, oh, I'd actually explain that in this way. But this is the best that I have right now. So go read that if you want to understand, like, my thoughts further about the scale of goodness and the badness. Blah, 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 blah. But it's complicated, for sure. There might not be no one answer, but at the very least, we have to be able to talk about these things. We have to be able to acknowledge and, most importantly, learn from history. That is our best guide to make sure we have a bright future, is to learn from history. So if I see one more person telling me that I'm not allowed to judge characters because things were different back then, how about, instead of telling me what I'm allowed to say, you just don't watch my videos? Because then that problem solved. You don't have to listen to me. I don't have to listen to you. I don't know. I can't help you there. You don't have to agree with me, but you also can't tell me I'm not allowed to discuss it. I have to accept that character as a good character because they weren't breaking any laws at that time. Like, do you hear yourself? If laws dictated goodness, then nothing would have changed. They would have just, oh, slavery is a law. That means it's good. That means we don't have to change it. Everyone just accepts slavery because the slave masters aren't doing anything wrong. You don't have to rise up against them. It's lawful for them to whip you if they want to. So he's actually good, and you have to just accept your slavery because it's a law. So it's good. So you can't judge the slave master. Like if the slave in that position can look at his slave master and feel this is not right, then I can look back and think that wasn't right. That's not a good person. A person who can do that and not feel, hey, maybe this law is bullshit. Maybe they're not the best person. Like, you don't have to agree with me, but that's why we're here to have conversations. My channel since the very beginning has been, okay, about reaction, sure, but you can look back at my first 10 fucking videos. Okay, I can't actually, there's this new thing. You can't say, you can say latest videos, you can say popular videos. For you is this new annoying thing that I don't understand. But you can't say from oldest. It's very annoying. But you can go, scroll down, go to latest tab, scroll down forever, go to, my videos have been over 25 minutes to an hour long, especially for Attack on Titan freaking videos. It's because I like discussion. So if you don't like discussion, if you just want someone to sit down and say, ooh, ah, wow, how amazing, I'm just not the reactor or YouTuber for you. You know, and everyone has different tastes, that's fine. So, beautiful episode in many ways, especially when I say beautiful, I was specifically thinking about the, I was going through like this. I was specifically thinking about this RNA, the journey. And then many other ways, very interesting to see like Thorgil's way of thinking. Sad to see Pater there. Yeah, there's so much information, so much to think about. I don't know. But it's heavy because it's war, and the war, as they often say, in the war, no one really wins. It sounds contradictory because when you're on the winning side, you feel like you've won. But from a larger perspective, in the war, considering what you've lost, it's like, how can you celebrate, you know? But I mean, this is what makes this show so great, because from the very beginning, Thorfinn's dad said something like a warrior having to fight with a sword. He's not a true warrior yet, or which means that I think possibly if you can't solve the problem without a sword, you're not a true warrior. In a sense, it could, I don't know. There's still a lot to, the story is still unfolding in front of us. We're still learning. We're still discussing. And yeah, I especially love stories that encourage discussion. So definitely planning on buying the manga one day, because it has some great lessons. But we're not going to learn those lessons if we're not allowed to talk about why certain things might have been good or might have been bad. We don't have to agree with each other, but we have to talk. Okay. I would say the episode is an 8 out of 10. Very good, but, you know, I've given lots of episodes 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And by comparison, this one just kind of hits me like an 8. Very good. Probably 8 to 8.5, but it's pretty much a build up towards what's coming this episode. It was a very good build up, but it was still, it felt like a build up. So gonna give it some time. I'll see you guys next week for the next episode.